Hey listeners, it's Morgan.
And Emily.
And we, this week, are providing you an extra special little surprise as a treat from the goodness of our hearts.
Yeah, not at all that we're crazy busy and things happen in life, but also because we love you.
Because we love you and because we've been jet setting for the past week and have not had time to research a weekly episode.
And we didn't have it in our hearts to not give you anything, so we are going to give you, in lieu of a normal programmed episode, we're going to give you a bonus episode that you can only get on the Patreon. We recorded it a long time ago, and it's one of our absolute favorites.
And we hope you cherish it as much as we do. It definitely holds a special place in our hearts.
And if you ask me on a random day about this topic, I get fired up. So I hope you will too.
So please enjoy our extra special little treat for you and enjoy this bonus episode.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week with regular episodes again. And if you like what you hear today, please, please, please go check out the Patreon where there are more episodes a lot like this one. Welcome to
Ill-Equipped History,
where two best friends tell you history, and it's a bonus episode. Bonus episode.
We're in a weird space, you guys.
We're just goosing.
We're just goosing.
Just goosing. Today's topic has consumed us, I think.
Yes. I don't think I've ever been more obsessed with a person in my life. And that is saying something because I have definitely, Emily remembers this. And I'm sure if you guys have known me for a while, you remember this. But I had a very unhealthy obsession with David Tennant about 10 years ago.
It's David Tennant. So every time I see him, I'm still a little bit like, okay.
Hello there.
Okay. Hey, what's up, doctor?
Allons-y. So, yeah, we are actually talking and trying to make jokes or we would cry about our current topic today because
we still might cry.
But we were talking about how, if you guys have seen the title, we're talking about Princess Diana. And I was making a joke that, like, I love her so much that I felt like I identify as a straight woman, but I have definitely, like, kind of, especially when intoxicated, known to, like,
dabble,
you know. Nothing too major, but, you know, a kiss here and there between the other ladies and, you know.
Between the same sexes.
Yes. I was trying to say, like, it's not the opposite sex. What is it? The same sex. But I was saying that, like, there's a tiny modicum of me that's, like, in love with Princess Diana because she's just, like, she's so beautiful and such an amazing person. And you said something about, like...
I said I'm bi Diana, and you went, I'm disexual.
So I wanted to share that with you guys because we laughed a lot about that.
She's a disexual.
I am.
Honestly, who wasn't?
Oof. I don't know if you heard that. It is storming. So that was a giant lightning clap or thunder clap. So sorry if you guys can hear thunder in the recordings.
And the thunder rolls. And the lightning strikes.
Do, do, do. We are the same brain. All right, Emily.
All right, well, Morgan's going to get into her life, and I'm going to get into the crash and what happened afterwards. And before we get started, I do want to kind of explain this book that I have. Okay. Because I don't know if I'm going to, probably not in your part, but I might throw in a little thing here and there.
Okay.
But this book, on the day after Christmas, when I found Morgan's infamous Protestant Reformation book, we were at McKay's, and I always make a little trip to the free bin for funsies.
Yeah.
You know?
Why not?
You never know what you're going to find in there. Turns out I got like 4 books out of the free bin.
Nice.
At this trip. And this book just so happened to be in the free bin. And I think it's because it's a hair damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Just a hair. Not unreadable. I mean, the pages are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I damaged it more highlighting in it. But it's the Bodyguard's story is what it's called. And it is a book written by the only survivor from the accident. And holy shit, guys, I couldn't even get through it all because of time restraints and other reasons I'll explain later. Mm-hmm. But go read the book. Go read. I love Trevor now. That's his name, Trevor.
Trevor. He's
a cinnamon roll. He's like a golden retriever of a bodyguard. So, But yeah. So Fate was like, hey, you need to do a... read this book. It's free.
Well, there we go. And it was actually because Emily picked up that book. We were like, let's just do Diana. Like, why not?
Do Diana, yeah.
So
let's do it.
You guys get to
experience
Also,
this. Shout out to Shelby who asked us to do this.
Yay, Shelby!
Thanks, Shelby! Okay. So get into it, Morgan.
I will. So, like Emily said, I'm going to cover her life up until the accident. And I have a couple things of like after, but it's not about her. It's more about her sons, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
So Diana was born Diana Spencer on July 1st, 1961 in Norfolk. And Norfolk is like the country, but like the fancy country. That's where all the rich people... Whoop! Dropped my microphone. Sorry about that. Norfolk is where the wealthy go to like live or vacation. Like even the royal family spends Christmases there. Like it's the country, it's rural, but it's also like very high class. Her father was Edward John Johnny Spencer. At the time of her birth, he was the Viscount of Althorp, and her mother was France Ruth Burke Roche. I assume it's Roche. Also, really interesting, both of her grandmothers were Queen Elizabeth's ladies in waiting, which I thought was really neat.
That's bizarre, but super neat, yeah.
Yeah. So, because they belonged to a noble family, the expectation was that Frances would give birth to a son who would inherit Johnny's wealth and title. However, Frances kept having girls. So, Sarah and Jane were the first 2 girls born. And they're the oldest. There was a boy named John who was born, but unfortunately he died just a few hours after he was born, which was very devastating to the family. And then a little while later, Diana was born. And this was a very big disappointment because they wanted a boy, and she was a girl. And what really sucks is that Diana knew she was a disappointment. Like, her parents did not shield that from her, which I think is really awful. And so she kind of started out life thinking she was not good enough, which will be a theme throughout her life, unfortunately. But later, the youngest Spencer was finally born, Charles. So Johnny now had a son, and now that Frances had fulfilled her duty, she wanted to leave this abusive marriage. I don't know to what extent it was abusive. Diana did recall an incident where her father slapped her mother in the face.
Oh.
I think it was just a very cold marriage. It may have been like emotionally or psychologically abusive. I don't know. I just know it wasn't good. And Frances wanted out. She wanted to take the children with her, but after she was slapped, she just left. And her plan was to come back for the children. Unfortunately, her own mother testified against her. So Johnny ended up getting full custody of all 4 children.
What?
And by all accounts, Diana never saw her mom again. They literally kept Frances from seeing her children again. And Diana was only 6 years old when this happened.
Whoa.
So really, really tragic life from the start, unfortunately. In 1970, when she was 9 years old, Diana was sent off to Riddlesworth Hall Preparatory School, which was a boarding school. In 1974, she went to West Heath School, which is another boarding school, before finally attending finishing school at Institut Alpin Wiedeminnet in Switzerland in 1977. And while this was kind of going on, in 1975, her father became Earl Spencer, so she earned the title Lady Diana. After finishing school, Diana moved to London, and she worked as a nanny for a little while, and she also worked in a kindergarten. I saw some things say she was an assistant. I saw other things say she was a teacher. But she liked working with children. Mm-hmm. Diana met a young-ish Prince Charles, who was the Crown Prince of England at the time, through her older sister Sarah, who Charles was dating at the time in 1977.
Oh.
Which I had never heard that. What's really... It's notable about the story, Charles was 12 to 13 years older than Diana. I've seen 12 and I've seen 13. I'm sure it's somewhere in the middle because of how birthdays are. But he was significantly older than her.
And how old was Diana when they got married?
20.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah. But so the royal family and the Spencers had known each other for a while. Again, like the Grandma Spencer was one of Queen Elizabeth's ladies in waiting. Her father was a viscount and an earl. They, like, their homes were close together. Like, they had known the royal family for a while, but Charles and Diana, like, officially reconnected back in 1980. I think through a mutual friend. And on February 3rd, 1981, Charles proposed to Diana after a brief courtship, like only a few months. And one of her biographers, Andrew Morton, said that Diana was so surprised she thought Charles was joking. She was like, what? Haha, joke. But no, it was not a joke. And this engagement ring was enormous. It was a 12-carat sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds. At the time, it cost Charles... I didn't write the pounds because I don't know pounds, but it was $35,000 at the time in 1980 or 1981. $35,000. And on July 29th, 1981, the 20-year-old Diana and the 32-year-old Charles married, and she became Diana, Princess of Wales. So, Emily, I do have a picture of her wedding gown.
Man, is it extra.
It is so extra. The poofy sleeves. It was like silk taffeta. It had like 10,000 pearls on it. Her veil was 25 feet long. She's wearing...
what year is this?
1981.
Tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Especially with the poofy sleeves. So it's kind of hard to tell in the picture. You may need to zoom in if you can. But she's wearing this tiara. It is a family heirloom from the 18th century. It's got like 100 diamonds on it. It's crazy. Like, it's so awesome seeing videos of her marriage ceremony because it just twinkles constantly. It's like a band of diamonds, basically.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's so beautiful. And apparently it took her 3.5 minutes to walk down the aisle because she had so much fabric around her and she could barely fit into the carriage. Her dress was so poofy. And like, she comes out and she basically has to fall out of the carriage because she can't move her body. And it's all wrinkled and, you know, it's just a little bit of a mess, which I think describes Diana as just being a little bit of a mess. But still, she was so excited. She was beautiful, just ready to be married. Almost 1 billion people watched this wedding on television. At the time, it was the most watched televised event in history.
Wow.
And there were thousands of people at the actual ceremony. So one thing that I saw is that Diana refused or omitted to say that she would obey Charles in her wedding vows.
She
said everything else, but she did not say obey.
Get it, girl.
And by all accounts, the first few moments of their marriage were really good. They were very close. They were reasonably public with their affections, and they did look to be in love. After they were married, Diana and Charles had their main home in Highgrove House, which was like, it's a castle. They have like 10 castles.
Of course.
Really soon after Diana married Charles, she almost instantly became the people's princess. The public was obsessed with her. She was way more popular than the royal family, which no one really cared about the royal family until Diana married into it. The royal family was perceived as stuffy. They're very proper. The public couldn't really relate to them. But Diana, like, she was so warm, so kind. She interacted with people, shook their hands, she hugged children, she took flowers. She always had a smile on her face. So everyone just instantly took to her. They're like, she's so different than what we have now. She's amazing. And this started causing a rift between Diana and Charles, unfortunately. Like, before Charles had married Diana, he was pretty popular. Like, he got all the attention. He was the crown prince, the future king. But then Diana came along and just blew his popularity out of the water. Everyone wanted to be with her. Everyone wanted to meet her. And so there's this series I was watching on Discovery Plus. Shout out to Discovery Plus. It's called Diana. And it's, I think, 6 or 8 episodes. And it does a deeper dive into her life. And they're talking about this one moment where they're like meeting the people. It's super crowded on both sides of the street. So Diana takes one side and Charles takes the other side. And the side that has Charles groans because they have Charles. And this really ticked off Charles. Probably embarrassed him, probably humiliated him. Definitely irritated him. But Diana was like, she wasn't doing this on purpose. She was actually
existing.
She was existing, and she was being her authentic self, but she was completely overwhelmed at first of the attention she was getting. She was like, I literally haven't done anything. I just married the crown prince and the future king, and people like are obsessed with me, and I don't know what happened. And so she was like always trying to defer to Charles, always trying to like bring him back into the spotlight. But it was just all about her. From the beginning, it was all about her. And again, this wasn't something that was within her control. It wasn't something she was doing on purpose. But Charles started really resenting Diana for it, unfortunately. And eventually, like, Diana started taking her popularity in stride. She was like, she started getting used to the attention. She started enjoying the attention, which, that's fine. But their marriage started suffering because of it, because Charles could not manage his jealousy of the attention she was getting. So because of this, he started withdrawing his attention and affection from Diana. And that really started affecting her mental health really severely. And again, like, she grew up in a very cold home, not a lot of affection. Her mother, she perceived she was abandoned by her mother when she was very young. Did not have a lot of paternal affection. Grew up in boarding schools, basically. So now she was being abandoned by her husband. And she started self-harming. And she actually, when she was 12 weeks pregnant with Prince William, Diana threw herself down a flight of stairs in what appears to be a suicide attempt. Thankfully, she and William were okay. I think there was just some bruising, but William was fine. But she was so depressed. I don't know if she saw another way out. And someone else in the documentary series was saying that, like, Diana would never, ever, ever intentionally harm her children. Yeah. But her mental health was so bad, she didn't feel like there was another way out at that time. And then after William was born on June 21st, 1982, Diana really struggled with postpartum depression as well. In 1983, when William was 9 years old and Diana was 21.
Emily here. I just wanted to interject that Morgan meant to say 9 months old instead of 9 years old right there. So if y'all were wondering how the math wasn't mathin', that's why. All right, on back to Diana's life.
Diana and Charles were supposed to be going on like, it was like an introduction tour around the British Commonwealth. So like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, to like introduce the people to Diana.
Yeah.
So Diana was like, she wanted to bring William with her, but this was against royal tradition. And Diana didn't give a shit. And she brought William with her. And the public thought this was great. They're like, oh my God, she has her baby. Look at the little Prince William. And again, like, this just further increased her popularity. They're like, she's going against royal tradition. She doesn't care. Like, she's awesome. The phenomenon surrounding her was called Di-mania. And it was like in newspapers, like her popularity. When she was pregnant with Prince Harry in 1984, she actually hid the fact that Harry was a boy from Charles because Charles wanted a girl. And while she was pregnant with Harry, they had started becoming close again. Yeah. But when she found out that Harry was a boy, she didn't tell Charles because she wanted to keep that closeness between their marriage. But then Harry was born on September 15th, 1984. And Charles was not happy about that.
What could she do about it?
No, it's literally not even a woman's fault that happened. It's the men's chromosome that dictates gender and sex of a baby. Anyway. It's always a woman's fault. Anyway. So Charles, again, started withdrawing his affection and his attention. And that's all that Diana wanted. Like you said earlier, like she just wanted his attention, his affection, his love. And her mental health continued to spiral. And I promise this isn't all like gloomy, but this is very important to her story. Her depression worsened. She developed an eating disorder. And she started seeking extramarital comfort. It's popular opinion that Charles started stepping out of the marriage first, but it was Diana.
Okay.
She started the first known partner that she was involved with this guy named Barry Manicky, and he was one of the staff that worked for the family. But so she was able to keep it a secret, but eventually Charles found out because
it happened.
And then he, from what I could kind of figure out, he was upset about it, but then he was like, well, if that's how we're going to do this, and I have license to go back to my ex-girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. And he did. So, this is a little bit of a tangent from Diana, but I really wanted to understand, because by all accounts, Charles never fell out of love with Camilla. He always loved her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, then why did he marry Diana when he was so obsessed with Camilla? Like they're still married, you know? Yeah. And they're like in their 80s or however old they are. So, from what I could find out, they initially dated in 1970. And apparently they had improper relations with each other. Mm. And because of this, Camilla was ineligible to be queen. Because she was not a virgin.
The fuck?
Yeah, it sucks. So they ended up breaking up. And in 1973, Camilla married her husband. And then Charles married Diana in 1981. But then they started reconnecting, which caused Diana to spiral even further. And I think I write this later down, but they both stepped out on their marriage. Again, Diana, by all accounts, was first to do so. From what I could kind of figure out, Diana stepped out of the relationship to seek the love and attention and affection she was not getting from Charles, but also I think to show him, like, this is what I'm not getting from you. I will stop this if you start doing this for me. Yeah. But then he was like, oh, like, since you stepped out of the relationship first, I have license to now, like, step out of the relationship as well, and I'm going to be with Camilla. And by all accounts, like, Charles was only with Camilla, while Diana went through, like, her share of partners.
Right.
So, it's just kind of a shitty situation. And I'm not trying to excuse Diana from this because, you know.
Yeah.
Cheating is not good. But also understand she married into the royal family. You can't just, like, end the relationship.
Right.
And she was in the public eye. Like, there was just a lot of things going on. And, yeah. So, partly in retaliation with Charles's new rekindled relationship with Camilla, and partly because of me, Diana began an affair with James Hewitt, who was a duty officer. And they had this affair, from what I saw, between 1986 and 1991. I guess it was on again, off again. And they actually met at Prince Andrew's wedding, which is Charles's brother. Apparently, James literally would hide in trunks of cars to go see her. Like, if he was going to, like, meet her at the house or at their rendezvous, like, because she couldn't be seen with another man out in public.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing, this was also kind of shitty, is that Charles and Camilla, like, they weren't out about the affair to the public. But it was basically well known among the family, well known among friends. Like, they had parties together, like, they hosted parties together. But Diana had to be so secretive about anything she was doing. Like, she had everything from Charles. She had everything from the media. She had to wear disguises. Like, it was... her lovers had to hide in trunks of cars to go back and forth.
Freaking double standard.
It was a lot. And can you imagine if the paparazzi had, like, grabbed a picture of the two of them in a tryst together?
Oh,
that would have ruined her image and her reputation.
Yeah.
But, and then, like, Charles knew about the affairs, and actually he didn't care. Because while Diana was having her affairs, he got to spend more time with Camilla. So Diana still wanted to live a life with Charles. Everyone in the documentary series I watched said basically, like, she needed that love and attention, like you were saying. She couldn't find a Charles, but she was still devoted to him. And, like, if he... like, had dropped Camilla and be like, I'm dedicated to you now, she would have, like, 100%, like, dropped all of her affairs, her lovers, and, like, been completely devoted to Charles.
Wow.
But they just weren't compatible. Like, they were very different people. Diana was she was shy, but she also had kind of, like, an edge to her a little bit, and, like, she was a little bit more true to herself. She could be who she wanted to be, whereas Charles, you know, he grew up as a prince. He was very proper, very put together, and they were just different people. And one of the people in the documentary said they were like chalk and cheese. What also didn't help is that there is a 12-year age gap. Like, when she was 24, he was 36.
Jesus Christ.
And again, they were very different people. And again, Charles could not handle the attention Diana was getting from the people. He was not handling how much more loved Diana was than he was. But again, there was nothing she was doing on purpose. So there was one night where they went to the U.S. They went to a presidential dinner with the Reagans. And it was a huge party. Just like their celebrities, dignitaries, you know, the who's who. And John Travolta was there. And this was the time Saturday Night Fever was, like, huge.
Nice.
Nancy Reagan got Travolta to dance with Diana. And there were pictures about it, and she was having a great time. But the next day, Charles was, like, presenting and opening an exhibit at the National Art Gallery, and the only thing reporters wanted to talk about was Diana dancing with John Travolta, which pissed him off.
Well, yeah, I mean, let the man have his moment. Damn.
Right. And, like, I know a lot of sources, like, villainize Charles. I'm not a big fan. But, and, like, we'll talk later, like, he was very shitty to Diana.
Yeah.
But he was also struggling a lot with his own things. You know, he didn't grow up in an affectionate household either. He was a prince. Like, he grew up in boarding schools with nannies. His mother was the queen. It's not like they went out to, like, an amusement park or went out, like, to play catch or anything, you know? The incident where at the art gallery really ticked off Charles, and he started publicly humiliating her. There was a moment where they were at an aquarium somewhere, and Diana was in the throes of her eating disorder, and she ended up fainting while at the aquarium. And Charles was making jokes about it, like, about her eating disorder, like, at a dinner that other people were at. And, like, about her fainting. Like, it's just, it got really shitty.
Ew.
Yeah. And Diana and Charles were obviously so miserable together at this point, the media started calling them the Glums.
Oh. The
Glums. So kind of changing gears a little bit. So Diana knew this woman named Sarah Ferguson, and she introduced Sarah, or Fergie, she'd be known to Prince Andrew. And Fergie and Prince Andrew ended up getting married. And Diana and Fergie had been friends for a long time. Fergie was very exuberant and fun. This is not funny. It's very ironic. And I feel really bad for Diana. But so Fergie she was exuberant. She was fun. Like, and Diana even said that she felt like she was becoming the queen's favorite and like kind of pushing Diana to the side. Because again, Diana's pretty shy. Like, she's not as exuberant and outgoing. She's pretty introverted. And so she was just like, man, like, Fergie's taking my place as the new princess. And she had feelings about it. And then Charles was like, why can't you be fun like her? Why can't you be more fun like Fergie? And so Diana was like, okay, bet. So they started, like, Fergie and Diana started having, like, shenanigans together. There was, like, this moment where they're at, like, a horse race or something. They're, like, poking people in the butt with umbrellas. And they're, like, going to bars and pubs and stuff and partying. But Diana started realizing it's not who she was. It's not the person she wanted to be. It's not the person she wanted to portray herself as in the media. And also, her following Charles's, like, suggestion of why don't you be more like Fergie ticked off Charles. He was like, why are you being like this?
You asked me to be like this. What do you want from me?
Yeah. So Diana, like, had an epiphany one day, and she was like, there's so much more I could be doing. I'm a princess now. I'm constantly surrounded by reporters and photographers. Like, I'm in a position of power, and I can do things that no one else can. And she started fucking doing things that no one else could.
Good for fucking her.
So,
oh my God.
Diana started diving headfirst into her charity work and humanitarian work. And she purposely picked organizations that the royal family wouldn't touch. The royal family always did charity cases. They're very easy, simple. And she was like, nah, I'm going to start working with, like, AIDS sufferers. Like, and this is the 1980s. The AIDS and HIV pandemic it's an epidemic at this point, and it's very misunderstood. It's attributed to the gay community very highly. People are thinking it's like a sin, like it's a punishment for being gay. And people wouldn't even touch people infected with HIV or AIDS because there is this myth that is spread through skin contact. And Diana was like, nah. I have a picture. If you scroll below the wedding picture.
Yeah. This
is Diana shaking hands with an HIV positive patient. I'm getting chill bumps, like, all over my body. This, like, revolutionized HIV and AIDS advocacy in the world. Like, this was breaking down a barrier of Diana saying, I am shaking hands and smiling with and being in the same room with as a person with HIV. I am not scared. I'm not going to get HIV. I'm working to end the stigma of HIV.
Oh, I love her.
I know, I do too. I love her so much. She wasn't just this one guy. Like, she was shaking hands with everybody without gloves. And even the royal family was like, oh my God, why are you wearing gloves? And she was like, why would I? I don't need to. Yeah. And she was the first high profile celebrity to do this. Wow. And I thought I wrote it down somewhere. I don't know where I wrote it down, but she opened like a ward, like an HIV/AIDS ward in London. So it's just for people suffering from HIV and AIDS. And actually, I got some of this information, I think, from Time magazine. But it was talking about like her advocacy work and like what Harry and William are still doing. Harry is still very involved in like HIV and AIDS advocacy and awareness even today. Like, the article was saying, like, in 2016, he had a Facebook Live video where he took an HIV test. And he was like, there's no stigma about it. Like, I'm protecting myself. I'm being safe. And actually, there was a shortage in HIV tests because so many people went and got them. And got tested. I know. In 1989, Diana made a solo trip to New York City, and she visited the children's HIV and AIDS ward in Harlem at this really tiny, like, community hospital in Harlem. And these were a bunch of children. The crack cocaine epidemic was really bad at this time in Harlem. And there was a bunch of children being born that were addicted to crack and were infected with HIV or AIDS. And she went, like, right down to this hospital. Out of all the hospitals you could go to, like, high-profile hospital, she went to this little community hospital in Harlem, was, like, holding babies, like, interacting with all the children there. Like, there's these two people that were interviewed in the documentary series, and one of them was a nurse at the hospital at the time. Mm-hmm. And Diana just comes in, and she goes, where are they? And they just take her right to the children.
That's all she says. Where are they?
Diana became the Royal Marsden NHS Foundation spokesperson, patron, and eventual president in 1989. And I'm jumping forward a little bit because I'm not in my story. I'm not to 1989 yet, but she worked with the Royal Marsden Hospital, and in 1993 she opened the Wolfson Children's Cancer Unit at that hospital. And then William actually became the acting president of that hospital in 2007 and continues to visit patients. She was the patron of the Leprosy Mission England, and was also, and I have another picture, I think below the HIV patient picture, I think she's in Indonesia, and she was, like, interacting and touching people with leprosy to also end the stigma, like, touching people with leprosy gives you leprosy. It's not very contagious with skin-to-skin contact. And she was, like, hugging people, touching them, interacting them, treating them like human beings, and really working to end that stigma.
What a wonderful woman.
I know. I love her so much. Like, I'm getting emotional. She was also involved in homelessness outreach. She was a patron of the Centerpoint charity in 1992, and the Centerpoint works with mostly homeless youth, and giving them resources and housing. And she actually, when William and Harry were young, she would take them to homeless shelters, and they would, like, work. They would serve food and, like, work with, like, give them clothing and stuff. And she made sure those boys, like, knew exactly, like, what they needed to do to help those less fortunate. And now William is a patron of Centerpoint as of 2005.
Wow.
And this wasn't mentioned in the documentary. I just saw it in a video clip. She spoke at a gathering for people suffering from eating disorders in 1993, and was very outright about, like, how people engage in eating disorders a lot of times feel control of their own bodies when they don't have control of their life. And I just thought that was really, I thought it was really important.
She's just covering all the bases.
She really is. In the 1980s and early 1990s, she was a member of over 100 charities.
Damn.
She, like I said earlier, she understood that she was in a position to make a lot of change in this world, and she fucking did it. Like, another source I think I was either reading or watching said that she did more for humanitarian efforts in her very short life than anyone else did in the entire 20th century.
Damn.
Like, just like her advocacy, her outreach, her fundraising, her donations, like everything that she did was so impactful. And
no wonder everybody loved her. Seriously. I mean, yeah.
And she was an amazing mother. She was such a good mother. She really broke from royal traditions to raise her boys. She was public with her affection with her boys. Like, she was always hugging them, kissing them, spending time with them. She always wanted to be there for her, or she always wanted to be there for them. She insisted they go to school instead of being like tutored at the palace, because she wanted them to live like normal boys. She wanted them to have friends. She wanted them to interact with other children. She went to school plays. She was in sports days. Like, there's a clip of her like doing like a race against a bunch of other moms.
Yeah, oh, I remember that. And she's in a skirt and just killing it.
She's great. And like, she was just a mom. Like, she wasn't Princess Diana. Yeah. She wasn't Diana, Princess of Wales. She was
just mom.
Future queen mother. She was just a mom.
And you know, I did see a video of her and her boys on like a water log ride. Yeah. And they were having the time of their lives. She was laughing. They were laughing. Everyone's wet. It was just a great time. Fun.
Just a great time. She wanted them to be children. She didn't want them to grow up like Charles did. Like, Charles, like, I will say, like, he did not have a great childhood growing up by all accounts.
No.
She did not want that for her sons. She wanted them, and like I said earlier, like, she wanted them to have compassion. She wanted them to have empathy. And so, in addition to just being a great mom, she was having them being involved in their community, having them act in charities and humanitarian efforts, and they still do that. Like I said earlier, Diana was involved in over 100 charities. Harry and William are involved in almost all of those charities that she had been involved in when she was alive.
God, how old were the boys when she died? When were they born?
So William was born in 1982, I believe. And Harry was born in 1984.
So they were,
I think, like 14 and 16.
Something like that.
Yeah, they were teenagers for sure. Yeah.
What a wonderful impact that she had on them. That they, you know, even as adults, almost 30 years later, are still doing the things that she's doing. And I'm sure in honor of her as well.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of what they do nowadays, they do in remembrance of her or for her. They just love their mommy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna cry this episode.
I am too.
Sure.
I am too. Like, I can't. So we're gonna mix this up and get into a little drama llama. We're going back to some of the drama llama. So in 1989, at Charles's birthday party, Diana confronted Camilla. And it was basically like, back off my husband. And Camilla said, "You have everything you could have ever wanted. Why are you concerned about this?" And Diana,
I don't want any of it.
She just wants her husband. Yeah. And this was really a turning point for Diana. The affair with Camilla was basically an open secret, like I said. And Charles was humiliating Diana on the regular. And Diana was like, I need to get in front of this. I need to tell my truth.
Yeah. So
she started recording herself answering questions from an author named Andrew Morton. Mm-hmm. This was a tell-all. For the most part. She started ending her own affairs because she was like, okay, like, if my marriage does end, I don't want to be accused of being the reason for it, for like having affairs.
Right.
And she started, so the book that would eventually be published is called Diana, Her True Story. And she was literally like dropping hints to the media before it was published. She kept this entire book a secret from the royal family because they never would have allowed her to publish this. Because she was accusing them of all kinds of shit. She was calling out, she didn't full on call out Charles and Camilla and having an open affair. But she did hint at like a lot of the mistreatment that she faced, the pressure she was under, you know, all this stuff. And in the documentary series, there's this moment where they both went to India. And Charles had told Diana years before, when they had just gotten married, that they would go to the Taj Mahal together and he would be with the woman he loves.
Yeah.
But when they went to India, Charles was very busy with things, so Diana ended up going to the Taj Mahal alone. And she was like posing for the photographers. Like, she was very intelligent with her use of paparazzi. And so she was looking sad and forlorn, which I'm sure she was, but she was also very like, I'm here by myself. And then the like reporters and stuff, because she always had like hundreds of people around her all the time, was like, why are you here alone? And she was like, or they're like, what is the Taj Mahal to you? Like, what is this moment for you? And she said, healing. And they're like, what do you mean by that? And she was like, you'll see. Like,
well, let me just drop this little hinty hint right here.
Yeah, she was doing it. She was very, very intelligent. She was very good at manipulating the media to do what she wanted, which was a double-edged sword because that made the media way more involved in her life.
Right.
But yeah, at least a year before the book was published, she was dropping hints. And then this book was released in 1992. And oh my god, the shit storm it caused. The royal family was pissed about this and were denying everything in the book, calling her unstable. Like, it was just crazy. But the public was like, fuck yeah, Diana. They were rallying around her. They're like, oh my god, like, this poor woman, like, give her a break. She threw herself down a flight of stairs because she was so depressed because her husband wasn't talking to her. Like, give her a break.
Yeah.
So, in 1992, after the book was published, Diana and Charles formally separated. They were not divorcing, they're just separating. And Diana had to be very careful about this because she wanted to stay in Harry and William's lives. And she knew that the royal family had the power to take them away from her forever. So even though she had this tell-all book, she did take a very big gamble. But she was also being very purposeful with like her actions in public. She never yelled. She never acted like she wasn't competent in public. She never was undignified in any way. So she was very careful about this. She was trying to be like very careful with the media and all this because she wanted to stay in her children's lives, especially with like the trauma she encountered as a child.
Right.
So when they officially separated, Charles stayed at Highgrove House, which was their main home, and Diana permanently moved to Kensington Palace. On weekends, she would take William and Harry to Highgrove. They would spend a weekend there. And in a documentary, it was saying that, like, literally as soon as the princess's car, like, disappeared over the hill, Camilla would be pulling right into the house. And she stayed there, like, during the week with Charles. So, Jesus. Eventually, like, Charles couldn't handle the pressure anymore, and like it was becoming more obvious, like with Camilla and all of that. So Charles finally came out and said in an interview that he was having an affair. And this is when Diana responded with the revenge dress, which, if y'all haven't seen the revenge dress, it is
fucking fire,
amazing. She is wearing like the super like body hugging black dress that like is super low cut, like it's just the sleeves around her like arms. There's
the tits are there, the hips are there. She's looking freaking great. Her legs, have you seen how toned her legs are?
She went to the gym very frequently. She's got the heels. She's got the fucking necklace with the giant sapphire in the middle, the pearls hugging her neck. Like what the hell?
She's killing
it. She looks fantastic. And that there's a reason why this is called her revenge dress.
Yeah.
And actually, so there's another interview a documentary I was watching. It's basically like a tell-all interview with one of her butlers named Paul. And Paul said that he'd worked for the royal family for years, and he ended up working with Diana, and he's the one that convinced her to wear that dress after, because she was super torn up about the interview that Charles had. Like, basically, like, yes, I've been having this affair with Camilla. She was really, like, heartbroken about it. And she had to go to this gala. She didn't want to go. And Paul was like, wear this dress. And she did. And just was a stunner. Knockout.
Got it. Yeah.
But Diana was not out of the mud completely. Reporters found about attempted and alleged trysts Diana was having with married men. Not good. This was starting to damage her reputation. Like, there was one report that she called Barry... what's his face, Manakee, like 300 times in one night. Like, it was really bad. And he was married and had a wife at this point. And then, like, there were rumors that she was starting to sleep with her gym trainer, who was also married. And it's just, she was starting to have a reputation. And she was called a homewrecker, and she was worried that, like, the public was going to start withdrawing their support of her. So she had to get ahead of this. She needed to get ahead of the interview with Charles, the press. So she ended up having a tell-all interview on BBC's Panorama. And everyone, I don't have contextual knowledge about Panorama. Everyone said this, like, what the hell? Panorama? That little thing? So I assume it was, like, maybe a smaller news show, or maybe not taken as seriously. And turns out, like, the Martin Bashir was the journalist on this, and he, like, really manipulated Diana to have this interview, like, telling her, like, all of her workers were spies, and being paid to watch her, like, really manipulating her and feeding into her paranoia already, which is not good. And actually, the BBC, like, later had to issue a formal apology for all of this. But in this interview in 1995 on the Panorama interview, Diana famously said, quote, well, there's 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. Referring to Camilla and Charles. And oh my God. She did admit to her own affairs as well in this interview. Like, this is my side of the story. And the public rallied around her. They're like, yeah, I would have cheated too. Like, he's so miserable. Like, yeah, she deserves love. Oh my God, the royal family hated this. They were so pissed off. Caused a media shitstorm. And then they couldn't go back and deny it because Charles had already admitted he was having an affair. So they couldn't deny like they had done when she wrote her book. The Queen demanded they get divorced. She was like, y'all gotta stop. Get divorced. And she originally didn't want him to get divorced because when Charles would eventually be king, he would be the head of the Church of England, which we've already talked about. And it would not behoove the king of England, head of the Church of England, to be divorced. Even though there's precedent for it with Henry VIII, which we've talked about. Not ideal. But the Queen was like, y'all need to stop.
Get your shit together.
And, divorce. And the divorce was...
And they married in 1981.
Yes.
And they got divorced in
1996. Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that. And also, like... it took me, like, I think I was going through everything yesterday, and it made me realize they divorced in 1996.
It's only a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway. So when they divorced, Diana was allowed to stay in the Kensington Palace. she had like a little apartment there, and she was able to keep the title Princess of Wales. But she was stripped of her title, Her Royal Highness, which is like another like modifier.
Yeah.
Because she was stripped of this, that meant she had to curtsy to all of her ex-in-laws and even her own children because they were like a higher rank than her. Like forced to do so. I don't think she did because Diana didn't give two shits about royal customs.
No, especially when it came to her kids.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She's doing what she wants.
Yeah, and I did not research this for this episode, but I think I remember reading like I don't know if it was a BuzzFeed article or something like years and years and years ago. It was talking about all the ways that Diana challenged royal customs and norms, and like there's very specific ways that the royal family is expected to do things, certain ways they have to dress for certain events.
Yeah.
And Diana loved fashion. She like one of my favorite things watching these documentaries is seeing all of Diana's outfits. Like they're immaculate and fantastic. Like even though like some of them could be considered a little dated because it was like the 80s and 90s, they're still amazing.
Yeah.
But she also wore like blue jeans and t-shirts and sneakers. Have you ever seen anyone in a royal family wear blue jeans? Like
No.
mom jeans?
No.
And sneakers and like run around. Like she was just chill, and she was like, I don't give a shit. I'll do what
everybody loved her, because she's relatable.
Exactly. She was the people's princess.
Yeah.
And from what I could tell, the queen didn't really have any ill will towards Diana. She actually wanted Diana to keep Her Royal Highness title, but Charles demanded she be stripped of it. Yeah. So
What a dick.
Yeah. Again, he's a complicated person. I'm not a fan of him, especially after doing all this research on Diana. She is not blameless in everything that happened, of course.
Right.
But she really suffered a lot, and a lot of it was by the hand of Charles. So after the divorce, she really stepped back from the public eye. She let go a lot of the charities that she was working for. She kept working with 6, but she dropped the other 94. And she was a little isolated, kind of kept to herself for a while, but then she was starting to come back out there. She made a trip to the US, and she had this super cool auction of a lot of her dresses.
Cool.
Like I was just talking about her amazing fancy dresses. She had an auction. She raised $3 million in one night at this auction. With 70 dresses.
Damn.
And she kind of had that as a I can still do good. I can raise $1 million in one night. More than $1 million in one night. There's still so much good I can do. So she started coming back into it again. She started getting back into her humanitarian work. And she was like, okay, I'm always surrounded by the paparazzi and journalists constantly. I mean, literally constantly. She cannot go anywhere without a swarm of reporters and photographers. But she, like I mentioned before, she's very smart with this. She was very intentional. She would even call, her favorite photographers to let her know, hey, I'm going to be here for the photo op. She knew how to manipulate the press to portray her in a certain way. She would, make deals with, tabloid journalists, only to write about her in a certain way. She knew how to play the media. And she was like, okay, I'm going to start using them. They're going to go wherever I go. So I'm going to start doing good work, meaningful work. And people are going to know about it. I'm going to advocate for these things. So one of the last things that she did was she was in Bosnia and Angola, which had just finished a really awful civil war. And she was there to advocate against landmines.
Yep.
Her trip to Angola was extremely powerful and very divisive. She was actually accused of taking political sides, and she was literally walking down the street with her swarm of journalists. And one of the journalists that asked her this question was in the documentary series I was watching, And she was like, you're being accused of being a part of the Labour Party, like, you know, which is like more the left-leaning political party in the UK. And she was like, I'm not a political figure. I'm a humanitarian figure. I'm not here to push an agenda. I'm here to support the people and advocate for a cause I believe in. And there's this very famous video of her walking down the minefield. Like, she has like a vest, she's got a face shield, and she's walking down this little dirt path with signs everywhere that are like, warning, 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 minefields. And at the time, like, 1 in 333 people were being killed by the mines, like every hour, every day.
Oh my god!
When she was there were so many people with like missing legs. There was a little girl that was needing emergency surgery because a mine had gotten her in the side and her intestines had fallen out. Oh. And like Diana's face when she was told that, she was like, "Oh my god! Like, I need to do something about this."
Yeah.
And actually, in the December following her death, the Ottawa Mine Ban Treaty was signed by 122 countries, banning and prohibiting the use and manufacture of landmines. And the Halo Trust continues to this day to remove landmines from the area, having removed more than 92,000 landmines, 800 minefields, and 162,000 shells, bombs, and missiles in Angola since Diana's death. Despite all this work, and that was from Time magazine, despite all this work, only about a third of the mines have been removed.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But Prince Harry is still very involved in the Halo Trust. Like, it's still, they're still advocating and supporting the Halo Trust. So in 1997, Tony Blair became Prime Minister, and he was left-leaning in the Labour Party. And Diana was like, okay, like, I can use this new change in government to start maybe being more of an ambassador.
Right.
Maybe more even of a diplomat to other countries and really pushing for humanitarian support.
Yeah.
So that was like what she was hoping to achieve with this new change in government. So I'm going to go back into her love life a bit. Back in 1995, so before her divorce with Charles, she had started a relationship with a man named Hasnat Khan, who was a heart surgeon in the UK. And they dated for 2 years. And by all accounts, like, people who knew her said that Hasnat Khan was the love of her life. She loved Hasnat. But their relationship was really hard. Like, and she wore disguises. You know, he would be in the trunk going to Kensington. But it was really hard because she was constantly hounded by the media. She had no privacy at all. And that was very hard for their relationship. Diana wanted to go public with their relationship, but Hasnat was very on the fence about it. The press was starting to harass him and his family. They were starting to investigate them. They're starting to, like, try to air out all their dirty laundry. And he was like, I can't do this. My family is at risk. I'm at risk. Yeah. Like, we are going to be, like, and not they were doing anything bad, but the media is ruthless. Like, there was literally, in the documentaries I saw, like, she was literally running from the paparazzi out of the gym. Like, the way that her leg was, like, the way her leg muscles was, looked like she had cellulite on her legs. And they literally called her Princess Lumpy Legs.
What?
A woman with an eating disorder.
And obviously the most toned legs I've ever seen.
Literally the next day, while she left the gym, she had, like, this giant, like, floor-length coat on. So they couldn't look at her legs.
Bless her.
Like, it just, the media was awful. So predatory. And Hasnat was not able to handle this. Diana was barely able to handle it. And so he was like, if you want to stay together, if you want to be married, we have to move to Pakistan. Wow. Because the media doesn't bother you there. And no, like, it wasn't working out between them. Like, she couldn't move to Pakistan. She had all this work in the UK. Her sons were here. And by all accounts, she would have married Hasnat Khan in a heartbeat. But it just wasn't the right place. It wasn't the right time. So after the relationship ended, very shortly after, she gets invited by Mohammed Al-Fayed, who's a billionaire, on his yacht in Saint-Tropez off the coast of France.
He owned Harrods.
Yes.
The department store.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the documentary was saying that they were kind of kindred spirits because, like, he was denied citizenship. They both thought themselves as outsiders, so they got close.
Yeah.
And 3 days into this trip, she'd brought her sons initially, but then they went back to London. Mm-hmm. And 3 days into the trip, Mohammed's son, Dodi Fayed, joined in on the adventures. Dodi was a playboy. It was not hidden. He was constantly partying, you know, having fun, having a good time. And apparently, while they were on the yacht and just hanging out in Saint-Tropez, like, Dodi absolutely doted on Diana. He was buying her jewelry and gifts and, like...
It is so much worse than that, too.
Oh, you know more.
I know. I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
So, I'm sure you know, well, you have the book from Dodi's Bodyguard, so I'm sure it was a lot worse. But it was only a 4-week relationship. But people were thinking that Dodi was going to propose to Diana.
Oh, that's one of the, like, conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Is
this whole thing about a ring.
Yeah.
And a freaking ring.
Yeah. But
yeah, it was crazy.
But this whole time that Diana's on this boat, like, she knows the media's watching her. There's literally camera guys in, like, rented boats, like, surrounding the yacht to get pictures of her.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of her, like, on the phone, and she's, like, leaning against a banister, and one of her legs is, like, on the banister. Like, she's flaunting. And a lot of people are like, she's trying to make Hasnat jealous.
She was.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Because for all of Diana's wonderful qualities, she did not know how to handle romantic relationships very well.
No.
Or difficulty with romantic relationships.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I have, on August 30th, they spent one last night in Paris. Diana was ready to go back to London to see her boys. And they left the Ritz Hotel on the way back to his apartment while paparazzi were chasing them on motorbikes.
I'll get into, we're going to overlap just a hair only because I have a first-hand witness account of what happened on these trips.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. So, and I did my best to kind of put it together because it is like, this book was written by Trevor Rees-Jones and a ghostwriter who helped him write it because he had never written a book before.
Right.
But some of the accounts also are from Kez, which was another one of the bodyguards. His parents and lawyers and basically that group of people, because he does not remember. He has no memory of 3 minutes before the crash.
Okay.
And then he woke up like 9 days later in the hospital. So he has no memory of that.
Oh my God.
So he doesn't remember the crash at all. So what he doesn't remember got pieced in by other people.
Okay.
And I didn't get to finish the book because it's about the bodyguard, not Diana. But there's a lot of insight as to what was going on before the crash happened and who Dodi was as a person that can lead to like why it's possible that it wasn't a conspiracy and wasn't a murder, but also kind of like I could see how it totally would be, especially after everything you just told us.
Yeah.
So, after she broke up with Hasnat Khan, she, like you said, went and hung out in Saint-Tropez. I said that right? Tropez. Apparently, before dating Diana, Doty was a private man and was able to go about his life with only one bodyguard at a time, one of those being Trevor, the other a man named Jono, and his father was the Egyptian tycoon who purchased Harrods, which is a luxury department store. So, according to Trevor, on July 14th, the Fayeds had Diana and her son down on the trip, like you had said. And the yacht was called the Janical. And this trip was a wonderful experience for everyone. The paparazzi was low. I mean, they were there, but low.
They could have some privacy on the boat.
Yeah, and they had fun, and the boys had a great time. No one thought at this point that the princess and Doty were actually seeing each other, and that they were only guests. And according to Trevor and Kez's accounts, even within the whole month, they're thinking, why in the hell is this woman dating this guy? He is in his 40s and doesn't do anything. He literally does not do anything. He has to ask his daddy for money. What she can do so much better than this guy. Why the hell? And their personalities don't match. Like, she's a go-getter. I mean, by all accounts, Doty's dad is a go-getter. Mm-hmm. Doty, not so much. He's just kind of living on, like, literally, Doty would do something and his own bodyguard would call his dad and be like, bruh, your son is
a mess.
Is a mess. And at the time, Doty had a fiance.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit is right. And they were to be married on August the 9th.
You're shitting me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Her name was Kelly Fisher. And this is also sketchy as fuck. Remember, Diana and the boys went down on July the 14th. Mm-hmm. Kelly Fisher went down there to St. Tropez. But never encountered the princess and the boys because fucking Doty had her on another boat and would go back and forth.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the boat's name was called the Cujo. But Kelly Fisher, apparently they had been dating for a couple of years and apparently were ready to be married.
Yeah.
Didn't really think anything of it. They're royal guests. Like, you can't be suspicious of everyone. And like his dad's there and like the boys are there. No big deal.
Yeah.
So she claimed she didn't know about the relationship until weeks later when she found out in the papers.
Oh my God. No.
Uh-huh. So on July the 22nd, the Princess William and Harry flew home on the 20th, where they then split up. The boys went to Balmoral.
Mm-hmm. That's
Balmoral.
Balmoral?
Balmoral.
Cool. It's one of the castles.
Balmoral.
Mm-hmm.
While Diana went to Gianni Versace's funeral in Milan. Did you know that Gianni was murdered?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I feel like that should be an episode.
We can do that.
Okay. I think that'd be fun. Just his life and all that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so she attended the funeral on July the 22nd. The book, this is where I'm like starting to cry because the book is like, and this was the last time that she saw her boys. Because they were to spend the next month, with their father.
Yeah.
So, this was it. So, after, I believe it was after this trip that Diana went and did another speech on the landmines.
Okay.
In where was it that we just said?
Angora.
Thank you. So after the boys and Diana left, Dodie and Kelly cruised the Mediterranean for a few days. Like nothing's wrong. And then Kelly flew home to Los Angeles. She was a model, by the way.
Okay. I mean, those collarbones.
I mean, damn, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Good Lord, ma'am. So she flew home to Los Angeles on July 23rd, still expecting to marry Dodie.
In like 2 weeks.
In like 2 weeks. The invitations are sent. Like,
oh my God. Okay.
So Trevor, between the first Saint Tropez trip and when he got back, he had some days off, because the way it would work is like they'd have like 10 days on, 10 days off. Okay. 10 days on, 10 days off. And when he returned back on August the 6th, he learned that Dodie and the princess had just come back from their second short trip since Saint Tropez. So 2 trips in like 10 days. And apparently after shipping Kelly back off to LA, Dodie stepped up in pursuing the princess. They had their first like official date back on July the 25th. Just 2 days after Kelly flew away. Yeah.
Shenanigans.
And on August 7th is when the book quotes, "Shit hit the fan." I just love this book. So on the 7th, Diana showed up to Dodie's house, and that's when the tabloids went fucking nuts.
I'm sure.
Because it's not suspicious to be a guest.
Right.
It is suspicious to show up to his apartment.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Side note, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Trevor's life than you guys probably need to know, because I want y'all to love him. But Trevor's wife had left him a couple months before this.
Aww.
Called him in the middle of this shift to tell him she was seeing another man.
That is so sad.
What a beehole.
Poor Trevor.
So I know, poor Trevor, and that added some stress. So this is when we see the bodyguards noticing that Dodie is smitten, because at first they were like, oh, they're just friends. Mm-hmm. And that the feelings are being reciprocated. Mm-hmm. And before this, like I said, they could not see them together. They're like, these are 2 complete opposite people.
Yeah.
And knowing now, because I wrote all this out without knowing about Hasnet Khan. This makes sense, because apparently Diana had been talking to a friend before this and was like, oh yeah, and this is going back to the ring thing that we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, Dodie's going to give me a ring, but I'm going to firmly put it on my right hand.
I know what you're talking about, because in the Paul documentary, Paul the butler said that he had that conversation with Diana, where she was like, I think he wants to give me a ring, and he was like, put it on your right hand so it doesn't look like an engagement ring. Yeah.
And I think she was just wanting to, like we said, make Khan jealous. Mm-hmm. So she's out here just living up life.
Yeah.
And it is a stark difference, because Hasnet Khan was a very private man.
Yes.
And Dodie was the complete opposite.
He sounds like the opposite of Hasnet Khan in every way. Like, Hasnet Khan was a heart surgeon.
Yeah. Dodie was just dicking around.
A guy.
Yeah, just a rich dude.
I don't know why it's so funny to like just call people a dude. Like, it will always be funny to me. Like, a rich dude, shy dude, like skinny dude. Like, it just makes me laugh
Skinny
every
dude.
time.
Oh, speaking of funny things, my son asked me, in all seriousness, the other day, if it was okay that instead of calling me mom, he calls me bro. So I said, sure, as long as you're being nice. So now I'm bro. And I want that on a shirt where it says bro, formerly known as mom.
That's hilarious.
I want that.
That's so funny.
So yeah, sometimes he calls me bro mom.
Bro mom.
Which is an upgrade. Bro mom. Yeah. What a turd. Anyway, so that was on August the 7th is when she first showed up to his apartment and the crowd went wild. Mm-hmm. So on August the 10th, a picture was taken of the two of them kissing on the Jonicle. Jonicle. Sorry, I should say it with an accent. This is their second trip down to Saint Tropez. Mm-hmm. And the media exploded. This is the infamous The Kiss picture, if you want to scroll down. And the photo led to a few things. The first being, Kelly Fisher sued Doty for breach of contract on August the 14th.
Yeah.
So, apparently...
Wait, August the 14th?
Yeah, so just 4 days after The Kiss dropped.
Oh, boy.
Second, this put their relationship very much in the public eye. And third, the photographer was paid $1 million for this photo.
Shit.
Shit is right. I feel very bad for Kelly. Because
I do too.
According to her accounts, she and Doty spoke every night on the phone.
Oh my God.
Until she saw the pictures of Diana and him in the tabloids. They were due to be married, like I said, on the 9th. And she said they didn't break up until the 7th. 2 days.
Before
and he flew out there to calm her down and stuff. But
he flew all the way to LA.
Yeah. I mean, when you don't have an actual job and you've got fuck around money.
Billions of dollars. Yeah.
When you're just a rich dude. So, I don't know. The way the book said it made me think that she saw the picture of the kiss, but I don't know how she would have seen it before the 10th, if it wasn't released until the 10th. So I don't know if she saw other pictures or one got sent to her or what. Mm-hmm. But apparently she had been calling around to the staff and being like, is fucking Diana down there on that boat with him? And the boys were not with them on this trip.
Right.
The second trip was just them. So, apparently, they're in a relationship now. Mm-hmm. The tabloids and the paparazzi got so bad that Trevor's bodyguard team, would have to call Diana's team if she wanted to come over. They would schedule a meeting point, a rendezvous, if you will. They would meet up. Diana would get out of one car, run and jump into Doty's bodyguard's car, and then they would speed off and go in so the paparazzi couldn't see Diana's car coming in. Mm-hmm. And Diana would have to lay in the floorboard. So she's doing what the boyfriends had been doing for her.
She understands now.
She understands. She gets it. And she took it all in stride. She's laughing. And
yeah. She's chill.
Her and Trevor and Kez had a funny relationship where, according to Trevor and Kez, whose real name I think is Alexander. I don't know how he got Kez, but whatever. Apparently Diana and the boys would just roast them. They'd be like, because it's the 90s. Yeah. So baggy pants are a thing. And Diana's like, did they not have those in a large? Like, and he's like, no, I like them skin tight. And they just had a banter, and she was very approachable. Diana even wrote thank you letters to every single one of the staff and the guards on her first trip, saying, thank you for keeping us safe. I know that me being there gives you extra work because it's me. I really appreciate it. It was handwritten. Even the boys wrote a little bit at the bottom that was like,
she's such a kind, considerate person.
Yes. And what's crazy is one of the women that was with them on that first trip said, Diana was like, oh, what's the bodyguard say? I want to thank him for lugging all this luggage on this hot ass day. And the other one was like, oh, you don't have to thank him. And she's like, bitch.
Yeah, I will thank him.
Yes, I do. I will thank him. He is sweating his balls off trying to get mine and my kids' luggage into this car. I'm gonna thank him.
Do you know if Diana knew that Dodie was engaged?
I don't, actually. I don't know. It never came up to what I could see. They definitely never met.
Yeah.
And if Dodie is... She definitely would have known by the 14th because she made a... it was a press conference.
Oh, really?
Publicly stating... yeah. So, did like a press conference, and here's a picture of her in... That's her lawyer.
Okay.
And they went on TV and said, we're suing you for, like, breach of contract or something like that.
Damn. Like
a public statement. So, Diana would have known by then.
Okay.
But it is unclear if she had known beforehand because he was playing like a shuffle game on that first trip.
Right.
It's like they would all be sitting around having a drink, and they had a villa up on land.
Yeah.
And Dodie would go, okay, time to go. Diana and the other guests would go up to the villa. Dodie would stay on the boat, and then Kelly Fisher would come over. So it's like he was purposefully keeping them away from each other.
Yeah. And I could see, like, unless, like, Muhammad, like, had slipped it out or she knew, like, more about their lives. Like, I didn't see anything about how they were, like, friends before all of this. But
I think the source I saw, they just happened to know each other through the events that they attended.
Yeah. But I can't imagine, like, I would like to believe that Diana didn't know. But we do know she allegedly tried to hook up with married men before. So it's not completely out of the realm of reality. But I would like to think that this was kept a secret from her. Right.
By all accounts, it seems like she didn't know at first.
Yeah.
And then it's already over by the time she finds out.
Yeah, and then maybe she was just like, well, I deserve happiness, you know. I'm going to be selfish. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so there was this one incident after they came back from the second trip to Saint-Tropez that Dodie was starting to get irritated with the paparazzi, and because before it could have been just him and Trevor driving around in a car and they were fine. Yeah. No one recognized him, no one accosted him, no one asked questions. Well, now all of a sudden he is thrust into this limelight, and he's kind of not a very trusting person. Mm-hmm. And I say that meaning he would just not tell his bodyguards what the plan is.
So no one could, like, intercept or, like...
He started, like, accusing his staff of telling the paparazzi where they're going to be. And poor Trevor is just trying to do his damn job.
The paparazzi were so relentless to find Diana. She literally, the only privacy that she had was in her home.
Yeah.
She had no privacy. She didn't have it at the gym. She didn't have it anywhere.
It's ridiculous,
There's
honestly.
A few shots of video footage of paparazzi. Like, I think it's at her gym. They had like step ladders and were like hanging over the giant like stone wall to get pictures. They paid someone to like get into their flat to get on the balcony to pay pictures that was across from the gym. Like, they were so relentless.
Let the woman live. And it got bad. Mm-hmm. But also, Dodie was the kind of rich dude that didn't like to live by a schedule.
Right.
He was notoriously late. He just kind of
just lived all. He just drifted.
He was goosing, for sure. So there was an instant that he took one of the Herod helicopters, and him and Diana were like, we're just gonna pop off for a bit. We'll be back in a couple hours. The pilot of the helicopter did not know where he was going until he took off.
Oh, God.
And he would not let Trevor onto the helicopter. Do you know where they were going? Diana's psychic.
What?
So they went to a residential area.
In a helicopter.
In a helicopter. Diana was having a hard time identifying which house was her friend's house. So it took them a while. And by then, people were like, noticed a fucking helicopter over their house. And no incidents other than the fact that it got confused and stuff. It was fine. They made it back. But that was just to show the kind of reckless behavior that Dodie was kind of prone to.
Yeah.
He just kind of did shit without thinking about the consequences. And poor Trevor and Kez would have to, like, work 3 times as hard just to keep them safe.
It's very
crazy.
Reckless.
It's very reckless. Especially with the fucking Princess of Wales.
Right.
Like, you could do that on your own if you wanted to. But, no. So, after Diana goes on trips and other things, on August the 21st, the two of them decide to go back to Saint Tropez.
Okay.
And they were going to go for like 10 days. Kez was told it was going to be 3 days. Trevor was told it was going to be more days. So they didn't even know how long they were really going to be gone for. And they only sent 2 bodyguards for the 2 of them. And, I mean, staff on the yacht, of course. But Kez and Trevor both independently were like, we need more bodyguards.
Yeah.
This is a high profile person.
Yes.
We need more.
Yes.
And they were like, nah, 2 is fine. We're going to keep it low key. And Diana didn't have any of her own bodyguards. And it is said that her former personal bodyguard, when she was married, had said that had the Queen insisted that she keep her bodyguards, this probably never would have happened.
Well, and it came up in my research, and it's actually in my notes, but I didn't mention it, but especially after the divorce, she really only had bodyguards when her kids were around. She didn't
want them for herself.
Yeah.
And that was mentioned that for the last few years of her life, she just didn't want them. She wanted to live a normal life.
Yeah.
And I can say that, like, I can understand it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't escape who you are when you're that much in the public eye.
Right.
Just because you want to live a normal life doesn't mean that people are going to allow you to do that.
Right.
I know I'm going to get like into the wreck and what happened later,
Mm-hmm.
but the lack of bodyguards really played a big hand in this.
Okay.
And people kind of blame the queen for not insisting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a whole nother thing. But
I mean, like, Diana wasn't part of the family anymore. Like, she was literally stripped of her royal highness. Like, yeah, she was still a princess, but, like, she wasn't part of the royal family anymore. So there's not a whole lot. Like, yeah, the queen is a queen, but there's not a whole lot she could do in that situation, you know?
Right. And, you know, it's hard. I'm sure it's hard to live like that, but she still had all the, like, rights and stuff. She could have them if she wanted them. She just didn't want
Right,
them.
and that's the problem.
Yeah. So, on this trip, this was the final trip that they had taken together that you had mentioned earlier. They kept trying to go to shore, but kept getting accosted, and they ended up going to Monte Carlo. And this is really important because this is part of the story that has to do with the ring that just doesn't quite add up.
Okay.
So they went on a walk in Monte Carlo, and the walk was absolutely disastrous. They didn't want to stop anywhere for water. Everyone was hot. Apparently Dodie was mad because Diana was, like, out walking him because she's in shape and he's not. And it is said that there was a jewelry store that I think it's called, like, Rossini's or something like that. I forgot to write it down in this section. That the couple had gone into and picked out an engagement ring. And the store owner says that as well. And that it was to be shipped to Paris or wherever they were going.
Mm-hmm.
So Trevor claims this could not have happened. He was with them the entire time. They never went into a jewelry store. There was no ring on this trip. It was impossible.
Okay.
But later, after the accident, the owner of the store reports that they were there, but he didn't see him in person because he was off that day. But he knew they were there.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it sounds like he just wanted more business for his store.
Probably. Like, this is the last place Diana visited before she died. Come get your jewelry at 5% off.
Right. At 5% more. The trip just became worse and worse. And according to Trevor, you could tell, and I'm absolutely paraphrasing because there's so much detail in this book. You could tell that the paparazzi, they were really getting to Dodie and Diana. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because it was getting to Dodie.
Yeah.
And then his attitude was kind of leaking off onto her.
Yeah, because, I mean, Diana had been living with this for the past, like, 15, 16 years. Like, she's
fine.
She was used to it at this point, and, like, was just like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's just a part of my life.
Yeah. And the trip just kind of became worse and worse. I mean, they had helicopters following them. They had boats constantly trailing their boat. God. Horrible. So they decided, we're calling it done. Like you said earlier, we want to go back to Paris, where we want to go back and then we want to go home. Mm-hmm. So on a whim, Trevor and Kaz put it together. They made it back to Paris. And when they landed in Paris, I don't even think the government was told that she was there. She could have requested the French send her some protection.
Yeah.
But she didn't.
She did not, yeah.
And it was mentioned that all the security mishaps that happened that led to this incident, she never had to make those choices before. like, on her own.
Mm-hmm.
They were always made for her.
Well, she always had, like a detail surrounding her. Like, even if they weren't bodyguards, she had butlers, she had assistants, she had secretaries, she never was alone.
Yeah, she could say, I want to go over there. They would figure out how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
She never had to make those choices for herself. So she definitely should not be held responsible for any of these mishaps.
Right.
So, but the paparazzi found out somehow, and they were there when they landed.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. So, the way they were going to the Ritz, which the Fayeds owned. Of course they did. 2 cars came from the Ritz to pick them up. One was driven by Doty's normal driver, and the other was the assistant head of security of the Ritz, Henri Paul. It's spelled Henry with an I, but France.
Yeah.
So Henri Paul. And Doty had met him before. He'd been there a long time. Doty's father owned it. Of course, they knew each other. So they left the airport, immediately surrounded by paparazzi, motorcycles with like 2 riders so the person in the back could take pictures and so forth. But Doty's driver was able to evade them. One thing that is important to mention is that Doty had a habit of saying, oh, well, there's someone following us. Just go outmaneuver them.
Mm-hmm.
Just speed up and lose them. And that is important for later. They went straight to the Villa Windsor, which was the formal home of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor that was now being leased by the Fayeds.
So what's really funny is that the Windsors are the royal family.
Yeah, I know.
That's just really... Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of roundabout.
Mm-hmm. So, they were only there for about 28 minutes. I guess they were just dropping stuff off or, getting situated. Then they went to the Ritz. Diana was getting her hair done while Trevor and Doty drove to Rapazzi jewelry store. That's the name of it. They had like a branch in Monte Carlo, and then they had a branch in Paris.
Okay.
Kez and Claude Rollet, who was the hotel manager at the time, followed on foot. So that's how close the jewelry store was to the Ritz. They just walked there while Doty and Trevor drove for safety reasons.
Okay.
And waited for about 5 to 10 minutes before Doty came back out of the store. He was only in there for a few minutes. And apparently he had been waiting for the ring to be delivered to the Ritz, the same one that they had picked out in Monte Carlo. According to Trevor and a couple other sources, he had picked him out in Paris.
Okay.
And there were 2 rings to be... he eventually settled on one, but there was 2 for a little bit. So they went back to the Ritz, and on the way back, Kez was kind of just looking about to see. There were several scooters, motorcycles, and tons of tourists gathering around, so they had already heard that Diana was there. So, I don't know why they want to go to so many different places.
I don't either.
But the couple wanted to go back to Doty's apartment to get ready for dinner. So, the paparazzi was asked to not take pictures while they were in transit during the trip. And they respected that and they listened. They kept their distance while they were moving. I guess they understood, like, we don't want to make her wreck, right?
Right.
And there was, however, an incident when they got to the apartment where one of the bodyguards ended up pushing one of the photographers. It was a whole thing. Kez was able to get everyone calmed down because he spoke a little bit of French. It was fine. By this time, Doty really wasn't trusting of his own men, afraid that one of them was the leak, like I had said earlier. So Trevor kept asking where the heck they were going for dinner that night. And this is the night of the wreck.
Right.
So Trevor kept asking where they were going for dinner, and Dodie wouldn't tell him. So how is he supposed to do any reconnaissance? How is he supposed to make sure that the location is secure if he doesn't even know where we're going?
Right.
So they had apparently made a reservation at the Chez Benoit, and the reservation had been made by the Ritz's manager, Claude Roulette.
Okay.
But the guards didn't even know where they were going until after they left.
Okay.
And then, halfway to Chez Bonnet, they aborted that mission because they were like, oh, it's too busy. So we're just going to go back to the Ritz. Why not? So this was concerning because the last time they looked at the Ritz, it looked like a street fair outside, according to the book.
Right.
Because there were so many people. So at 9:50 p.m. Ow, I kicked my desk. Oh. So at 9:50 p.m. with my crooked toe, because why wouldn't I? Right, just that one. So at 9:50, the cars pull up to the Ritz. The mob was waiting, and Trevor is in a different car than the couple.
Okay.
He's in a car trailing them, and I guess that was a precaution to make sure that the paparazzi didn't get too close behind them. But he had to get out and go and run and open the door, and I guess there were so many people it kind of stressed Dodie out, so he froze, and that allowed the photographers to come in closer, and they did end up getting in there, but then Dodie started blaming the guards for all that, and the guards were like, no, this was you.
It was just a big mess.
This was all you. Yeah, it's literally a clusterfuck. And so they originally went to a table in the restaurant in the Ritz, and then they were like, never mind, we're going to go eat in the Imperial Suite in the room. So Trevor and Kez finally ate some food at the bar, because bless them, they hadn't had food since breakfast on the Jean Ecole.
Oh yeah. I forgot that this morning they were still on a boat.
Yes. So at 10 p.m. they finally got some freaking food, and they're sitting at the bar, and Henri Paul comes in at 10:08, and Henri had been off duty. Remember, he's the
manager,
the second in command of security.
Okay.
At the Ritz. But he had come back into the hotel after learning that Dodie and Diana had returned.
Okay.
So they started talking to Henri Paul. Trevor never really liked the guy, but I mean, he was just doing his job. So Kez and Trevor assumed that he was on duty and was updating him on the situation and chatted, and they left the bar about 5 minutes after Paul got there. Paul had no red flags in his behavior. Now, Paul did order a drink while sitting at the bar. Mm-hmm. Neither Kez or Trevor knew that it was an alcoholic drink. And they also didn't even think that, because you're on duty. Right. You don't drink while you're on duty. So by the time Paul had left the bar that night, he had had 2 Picard pastis, which is a type of drink, and it's very high in alcohol. And it would later be revealed, and I'm giving away a little bit, but it would later be revealed that those 2 drinks were on top of drinks that he had had when he was home, mm-hmm. between 7 and 10 after he had left work and then come back. He was 3 times over the legal driving limit.
Fuck.
And he had 2 prescription drugs in his system.
Fuck.
One was an antidepressant, and the other was a deterrent of alcohol dependence.
Oh my God.
So.
Oh boy. Oh yikes. Oh no.
I know. At 11:07, the bodyguards sat outside the Imperial Suite waiting for word on what the fuck is happening next.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were planning on doing, they had no idea. The two cars were waiting outside, out front. And they also didn't know that while they were eating at the bar, Dodie had made a phone call to the night manager of the Ritz and heard that Henri Paul had returned. And he asked that Paul have a third car waiting for them in the back of the hotel for him and the princess. And the two cars out front would pull off as a distraction while the car in the back escaped.
Okay, makes
right?
sense, yeah.
Yeah. So, he also said, I literally have something that says refer to the book, page 83. So, Paul came up to the guards to tell the guards of the plan. And he said, quote, "The plan's been changed. We'll be leaving from the back of the hotel with just one car. He wants me to drive. The two other cars will leave from the front to divert the paparazzi. Dodie doesn't want a bodyguard." Multiple times, Dodie has asked to not have a bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't fucking know. But, the guards thought this was a terrible plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that they've done has worked so far. And let's be honest, the paparazzi are annoying as shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're not actively trying to kill you.
Yes.
You just get into the car and you go and they move and it's fine. So, and even at this point, the photographers had been made to move across the road. So they weren't even that close. They had a clear shot and they're like, it's safe to just get in to this car, to your normal car. And Dodie heard none of it. And
it sounded like he was super paranoid.
yes, I think he was. And he even said, well, my father approved it, which was like golden stamp. You can't get around that.
Yeah.
So let me take a drink. So the guards were like, this is a terrible plan, but this is my job. I don't really have much of a choice here. But Trevor was like, if you're going to go out the back, I will be going with you. I don't care that you don't want me there.
Mm-hmm.
I am your guard. I will be with you. So that was that. Kez went out front to get, do the signal and then get in the car and then go. And the four of them, Diana, Dodie, Trevor, and Henri, went down the service elevator, out the back, and waited to get into the car until it's the right time. Now, the car itself is important because it was a standard-ass car. No darkened windows, no bulletproof armor, just a regular Mercedes. So, nothing spectacular. So, when the plan was put into action, it immediately backfired.
I'm sure it did.
Immediately. Because there were paparazzi around back, too.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who doesn't have darkened windows?
Mm-hmm.
So, these are some of the... And I'll try to find some online to post. God, these pictures are triggering as fuck. But some of the last photos that you see here, like this one, is of her and Dodie, and that's Henri. That's Henri. They were in like the service quarter waiting to go out that back door.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw clips of them in the elevator on their way down in some of the documentaries I was watching.
Yeah. It's honestly very sad.
It's so sad.
Like, these are the last minutes of these people's lives.
Yeah.
So the crowd immediately started moving, chasing with motorcycles and stuff. And because there was a crowd, Kez and the other car, the two of them were delayed in getting out. So the Princess, Dodie and Diana are on their own.
Mm-hmm.
The four of them in that car on their own. And at 12:20, that early morning hours of 12:20 of August 31st, they sped off from the hotel. And that point is the last memory that Trevor had, was telling Diana that they had a few photographers on their tail, but not too many. And so now the crash itself. So Henry Paul was headed towards Dodie's apartment, which on a good day is about 6 to 8 minutes of a drive. But the main highway that would be the fastest route was, absolutely packed. Traffic, bumper to bumper. And there is footage of that night as well. So he was making good progress, but had to go kind of a back way. And stopped by but was stopped by some traffic lights. A witness who just happened to be on the same road saw the car, recognized the people in it, didn't do anything. He's just a
guy,
a bystander.
Yeah.
Just a dude. And but noticed that they were being hounded at the stop signs by two people on a motorcycle. And the witness stated that neither Diana nor Dodie had their seatbelts on. He could not tell if Trevor or Henri had their seatbelts on, but he stated that Diana and Dodie did not. So when the car turned green, when the light turned green, there was a car in front of, I'm just going to call it the Mercedes, because it was a Mercedes,
Okay.
and it's easier to say.
Okay.
There was a car in front of the Mercedes. The witness drove off and looked behind and noticed that the car in front of the Mercedes was not moving. So Henri, driving, whipped out around to the right and sped off. So the witness said that the Mercedes was reported to swerve around the car that was sitting still to the right, and the engine made a lot of noise. So obviously he was putting pedal to the metal here. He was flooring it. And then the Mercedes passed the witness. So not only did he speed up, he went from 0 to 60 real quick, but he continued to go at that rate of speed. And no one knows, because of Trevor's lost memory, if it was because Dodie urged him to do that, or if it was the alcohol, or what. But he was trying to get away from paparazzi, and he was going too fast. So it was said that witness saw the Mercedes pass and then very quickly lost sight of it. So he was boot scooting boogieing.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a series of tunnels. There are 2 tunnels, and they go down and then back up, because it's under other roads.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through the first tunnel, and upon exiting, they should have gotten off the exit to the left. They should have taken the off-ramp. Had he gotten off, he was supposed to go right. He should have exited right to go up. And had he gone off there, he would have had a straight shot to Dodie's. But one possibility is that he didn't take the exit because motorcycles were blocking it.
Like paparazzi motorcycles were?
Yes.
Oh my God.
But there's no physical evidence of that. But the French did like an 18-month investigation, and that's kind of what they're thinking. So he either didn't take it because someone was blocking it, or
he
missed it.
He was intoxicated. I mean, 3 times over the legal limit. Like, he's not making good decisions.
Well, and you know what's crazy is we can, I've got some links in the show notes, guys. There is CCTV footage. He's walking around like he's not drunk at all.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. And so like, that can happen with high functioning alcoholics.
Yeah.
Or just people who are alcoholics. They can hide it very well because they're used to it. But the fact that he was on medication to like stop alcohol consumption, like, that means that he had a problem.
Yeah. You want to know another fun little fact? He didn't have the proper license to drive that car.
Of course he didn't.
Yeah.
There, like, everything that could have gone wrong on this night did.
Yeah. So they can't take that right.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to go into the second tunnel. And approaching the tunnel, in the book, it says they were going 78 to 96 miles an hour.
Oh, shit.
In more recent sources, where I'm sure they've done more science and stuff, where they can, figure out exactly the speeds, they're saying it was more like 61 to 63 miles an hour.
Okay.
Still too fast.
Yes.
It was like, I think the speed limit was 30 miles an hour.
Okay. Yeah, that's way too fast.
Way too fast. And they had 5 motorcycles on their tail. And there happened to be a Fiat Uno in the tunnel. And I just want to say it now, though 3,000 owners had been questioned, the book says they never found the exact one. Now, this book was written 2 years after the accident.
Okay.
So, obviously, this was from
1999.
Yeah. It might have been published in 2000, but it was written 2 years after the wreck. But there's paint chips and other evidence that prove that Paul had a minor collision with this white Uno. So, recap. The car is in perfect condition, perfect working order. Nothing's wrong with the car. So we've got the exit blocked. We've got this high speed and the car's becoming hard to control. We've got contact with the Fiat and the driver was drunk. So going into a notoriously dangerous tunnel already. Let me read how the book describes how it all went down. Just as the Mercedes reached the curve to the left, it is pulled irresistibly to the right by centrifugal force, and also perhaps by Paul's plan to exit to the right at that point. So he was already trying to turn right. Okay. And he faced a Fiat Uno in his path. As he pulls to the left to try to avoid the Uno, he swipes the Fiat's left rear end in a minor collision, but forceful enough to send the front of the smaller car to the left as the rear is pushed to the right. So it turns the Fiat around. Mm-hmm. And that shrinks the Mercedes driving space. Mm-hmm. So the Mercedes right wing mirror shattered against the Fiat side as he tried to swerve around the car. He skids to the left for 19 meters, one wheel off the ground.
Oh my God.
And just as he passes the Fiat, and turns to the right to get ahead of the car, his path is blocked by another car just ahead of the Fiat, a Citroen BX. He turns the wheel to the left too hard and skids towards the pillars dividing the tunnel in two. I know accidents are split-second things, but he made the worst split-second decision he could have made. He was still fighting for control instead of just trying to stop. So Henry Paul instinctively reached for the gears to shift down from fourth to third to slow his speed. But he had must have forgotten, that he wasn't driving a stick shift. He was driving an automatic car. So when he grabbed the shifter and pulled it down, he put it in neutral.
Oh, no.
So now he's freewheeling instead of slowing. And it's too late now to attempt to compensate. And he finally hits the brakes just 64 meters before impact. I don't know how long, but too late. He hit the brakes too late. The Mercedes, traveling over 60 miles an hour, hit the 13th pillar at a right angle, and they're square pillars. And you can see in the picture, it literally carved a V into the front of the car. It hit so hard.
Yeah.
And then bounced and hit the wall before coming to a stop. So all of that happened. I know it took me a while to read it, but all of that happened within like
a couple seconds, I'm sure.
2 seconds. Yeah. I want to tell you what the paparazzi did before I get into the injuries. One of the paparazzi ran up to the car and spoke to Diana. He could tell by the way the other three, the men were not doing good. But Diana was actually mumbling stuff. So she was alive and told her help was on the way and was speaking with her. During this time, Kez and the other cars were so far behind them, they didn't know they had wrecked.
Yeah.
And they ended up calling back to Dodie's hotel and being like, oh, we're stuck behind a wreck.
Oh, my God.
We'll be a little late. They ended up going to the hotel and they're like, how the hell did we beat them? And they didn't find out till later it was them that had wrecked.
Oh, my God.
Bad. And they only found out because the paparazzi found out. And then the guards hounded the paparazzi and be like, what is happening? Because if they're calling you, it's about Diana. I know that. So the injuries. The airbags did deploy. And the steering wheel, engine, and radiator were thrown against Henri Paul's body, killing him instantly. And guys, I want you to know, I've been in a lot of car accidents, so I am not going into detail about this because I was getting anxiety earlier.
She's got trauma.
I got trauma on trauma. So, Trevor was a little different. It is claimed that at one point they're like, he did have his seatbelt on. At another point, he didn't. What they think happened was that when they collided with the Fiat, he instinctively went to grab his seatbelt to click it on, but didn't get it all the way on. So Trevor's airbag saved him from the initial impact. But when the car rebounded, the airbag had already deployed, so there was nothing there to cushion his face for the second impact, which was when the car hit the wall. So this is when Trevor hit his face and chest on the dash.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the gruesome details.
You can imagine.
His entire face was squished.
Okay.
Into his face. On top of all the impacts, coupled with the fact that Dodie and Diana did not have their seatbelts on, they were bouncing around the back of that car like ping pong balls. Mm-hmm. And this caused enough internal damage that Diana would later die in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Dodie had broken ribs that had punctured his lungs, paired with a spinal fracture, and that was listed as the cause of death.
Yeah.
And then I have a said this, like, I'm done talking about their injuries for the most part.
Yeah.
The fucking press had the audacity, instead of running up to the car, like the one paparazzi guy did that. And there were other good Samaritans that came to help. The paparazzi continued to take pictures. Like a swarm of freaking vultures. Mm-hmm. It just... Yeah. So, at the time the ambulance first arrived, they thought Diana was gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Because upon looking at her, she's mumbling things. I mean, her legs, I think, were broken, and I think she had an arm fracture. But those can be fixed. She looks okay. But they had to get her out of the car first to be able to use the jaws of life to get Trevor out. They could tell the other two were already passed.
Yeah.
So they put her in the ambulance, and she went into cardiac arrest. Now remember, this car accident happened at 12:23 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I know France does things different with their ambulance service. They're focused on when they get there, they want to stabilize the patient before taking them to the hospital. Where we in America are like a scoop and shoot is what they called it, I think. Where we go, we scoop out the patient, we get to the hospital as fast as possible.
While also trying to stabilize the patient.
While also trying to stabilize the patient on the go.
Yes.
This is where things start to get a little weird.
Okay.
So they get Diana out. She goes into cardiac arrest. Just getting her into the hospital. So obviously they're
the hospital or the ambulance.
Shit. Sorry, the ambulance. Okay. They're like, oh shit, this is not good. She's worse off than we thought. Turns out she hit so hard her heart moved to the right side of her body.
Fuck.
Yeah. And it was just so delicate.
Yeah.
Tell me why it took an hour and 40 minutes for them to get to the hospital. And not only did it take, I'm getting goosebumps. Not only did it take an hour and 40 minutes, they went to not the closest one. And they stopped to restabilize her again. Like, keep going. The best place she can be is at the hospital where they have all the things. An hour and 40 minutes.
That's way too long.
4 miles. 4 miles.
That's ridiculous.
A ridiculous amount of time. Even if you are to you stabilized her the first time. Boot, scoot, and boogie your ass down to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason this woman, I understand things happen, but the doctors that were there, I mean, immediately just like ripped her chest open. And she also had an artery that had busted. Mm-hmm. They fixed that. They did. But she bled internally for an hour and 40 minutes.
Almost 2 hours. That's...
Mm-hmm. They gave her upwards of 150 shots of adrenaline that were 5 milligrams each.
What?
Just trying to restart her heart at the hospital.
Oh my God.
And she was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. And there was some confusion. People thought that Trevor was dead as well. But he wasn't. And his poor stepdad literally put on his funeral suit to go see him in the hospital because he thought he was going to be bringing home a dead body. I know. Also, his ex-wife had the audacity to come too. Like, bitch, stay at home. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, they technically weren't divorced yet, but still, you have no right. Go on. So, after the crash, Trevor is still in a coma. The other 3 passengers are dead. Football matches were canceled, and people flocked to the palace to show their respect in the very early hours of the morning. The photographers that had been on the scene were arrested in connection to the accident.
Okay.
And eyewitnesses described their behavior after the crash like vultures.
Yeah.
Offering no help and only taking pictures.
Yeah.
Within 2 days, 9 of them would be suspects in the crash. So rumors started to fly about the causes. Minutes after the crash, assassination was one of them. And honestly, after everything you told us, is that really too far-fetched?
So I do have something to add. This is from Paul the butler, who was very close to Diana. He was talking about the crash, and he actually the moment he found out, he said that he got on like the next flight to Paris direct, went straight to the hospital, and she had already passed away, but like he went to go see her before the morticians took her body away. But he said, and again, this is just his word, there's no other corroborating evidence of this, but he said that 10 months before she died, she wrote Paul a letter saying that she'd feared for her life.
That she was going to die
in a car accident.
And that it was going to be
staged by Charles.
Oh God, I got cold chills again.
So I will say Paul was like, yes, they had their disagreements. Yes, like, they had a really messy divorce and all that. But, like, his opinion was, who on earth would want to kill her? You know, like, Charles already had Camilla. Like, what else could he, like, she had nothing. Like,
from what I hear is that the royals supposedly saw her as a threat.
Yeah.
To further embarrass the prince when she's just trying to live her life.
Yeah.
So, there were theories that the car, the Uno, was in the tunnel to slow down the Mercedes so that the other paparazzi could get closer to them. And I do have a little bit about the Uno in just a second. Okay. But at 6:59 a.m., the morning of the crash, the first Diana website went up. And 13 minutes later, the first conspiracy site went up.
Of course it did, yeah.
Of course it did. And sites like this would eventually reach upwards of 36,000.
Doesn't surprise me at all. There's still, like, so many prevalent conspiracy theories to this day. Even that she's still alive. Like,
yeah. It's and all of these were charging M16, CIA, and other agencies, by the British government, royal family, and even arms dealers because of her anti-landmine campaigns.
Yeah.
And the Egyptian press started blaming the British government. Dodi's dad, immediately upon answering the phone, hearing his son is dead, said, he was murdered. I hope I hope the British got what they wanted or something like that. So immediately he started blaming the British government, which is weird, but okay. Racism, a secret pregnancy, and even Fayyad's role in the fall of a government were all reasons stated by the Egyptian presses. And rumors of Paul's drinking had already been spreading by early morning. And at 4:30 p.m., Frank Klein, the person who ran the Ritz, reported to the press that there was suspicious circumstances surrounding the crash.
Wow.
I don't know what those are. It didn't state what they are. And the next day was the announcement of the next conspiracy theory building block, is how the book put it, which was the supposed engagement. So, this is like the weirdest thing, but apparently, supposedly, Diana and Dodi were to announce the engagement on September the 1st, the next day, as soon as she had told the princes. And the CIA found out about it by bugging Diana's cell phone call to her friend Lucia Flecha de Lima, wife of Brazilian ambassador in Washington, on the afternoon of her death. So apparently the CIA...
Sorry, that was the woman that called Paul and let her know that Diana was killed. Or let him know.
Okay. Yeah. So the CIA immediately tipped off the British government, and that's when they decided to kill her. And a lot of like I said, racism was part of it, because Dodi was
Egyptian
Muslim.
Yeah,
he was an Egyptian Muslim, and the mother of the next King of England being Muslim was like apparently an issue.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be, but apparently it is. So even though they were only rumors, so Diana's funeral, I think I can get through this. Okay, Diana was buried on September the 6th in the biggest royal funeral to date. 59% of all Britons watched it on TV.
I'm sure the rest were at the funeral.
Probably. And the Queen gave a speech that appeased the people. Apparently they had kind of gone MIA for that week.
Yeah.
And the royals, they'd just been absent. Oh, this gets me. One sobbing lady reached out and touched William's hand at the funeral and said, "Your mother lives on in your face, lad. God bless you."
Oh. All right, here come the tears. Oh boy.
And then I watched a video of Elton John singing Candle in the Wind. But it was like the Diana version of Candle in the Wind at her funeral. And then I was crying again.
But I know how much you love Elton John.
I know. Your mother lives on in your face, lad.
The thing that got me when I was watching the documentaries, I literally had to go like cry to Kyle. It was a video of her in her casket. Yeah. Oh my god. With this giant bouquet of flowers. All the lilies. Oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this or not. And on top of the bouquet, this enormous bouquet, was this little envelope that said, "Mummy."
Well, shit. Well, that hurts.
It hurts so bad, but it's just like this, and it's like in handwriting. I can't.
That's only like my biggest fear as a mother is like dying, or I mean, obviously one of them dying, but like me leaving them behind, and like, how would they be okay? And then knowing that these poor boys had to grow up without their mother, in the kind of atmosphere that she didn't want them in.
I know.
And then seeing them still
like I'm
love and cherish her after her death was just
I want you to finish, but I have a note that I learned in the Paul documentary that will probably destroy you.
Oh god.
We've got a double cry here today on ill-equipped history. Oh boy.
Oh man. Oh, I got the snotties now. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm gonna go into other things now, so maybe we can
get through this.
Yeah. So, Trevor was in bad sorts.
Yeah.
He was basically in a coma for like 10 days.
Oh, shit.
And they were worried that his like brain was swelling. They were really worried he had brain damage because of how hard his face hit the dash. I won't go into too many details, but one that just says the significance. He did break every bone in his face.
Oh fuck.
And this is gross, guys. If you don't want to hear something gross, plug your ears and sing La 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 for about 30 seconds.
Can I do that?
No.
Oh man.
He hit so hard his eyes were an inch or two indented into his face and were spread wider. Like 2 inches further apart.
Like in his face?
Yeah, in his face.
Oh my god.
But they were undamaged. They were just moved. So while he was still in a coma, they ended up doing a complete facial reconstruction. And they fixed all that. And he looks... I
was looking at the picture. Like,
yeah, there's one post-wreck. And they did a phenomenal job. I mean, yeah, there's scarring.
Yeah.
But, like, you can still tell that is the same person.
Yeah, I was just looking, because there's a picture you have of him after the surgery, and, like, I didn't even know he had surgery.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like himself.
I'm gonna make you cry again.
Oh, no.
So, when he got off the ventilator, he was very agitated because his jaw was, like, wired shut, and he couldn't talk, and he was having a hard time communicating, and he finally was able to, like, write things on a whiteboard, and his mom and his stepdad came in, and he was so happy that he wrote them a note on this whiteboard, and it said, "Hello, Mom and Ernie. Glad you were here. Thanks for everything. Love, Trav." And he hadn't been able to write up until then or communicate.
He was so happy he saw his mom and stepdad.
And he looked so proud of himself. So yeah, I just cried through half of this, but it's fine. But when he woke up, not everyone was very nice to him. So they started to accuse Trevor of him being in on the conspiracy, because apparently the seatbelt had been like stretched forward and whatever, but they were claiming that he was the only one with the seatbelt on.
So that's a conspiracy.
So he must have known that something was going to happen and put his seatbelt on.
What?
Yeah, it did later come out that he did not have his seatbelt on, that he had tried.
But even then, it's like, you're in a car, you put on a seatbelt. Like, that's not a conspiracy, that's safety.
No, well, I mean, it is 1997.
But
I had been in 2 car accidents, one without a seatbelt at this point in my life, and it was just commonplace.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah. But I will say, eventually, the Fayed family started going after Trevor, saying that he shouldn't have let Henri drive or whatever, and Trevor was like, I did everything I could correctly.
Yeah. This, it just sounds like a really unfortunate accident.
But the Fayeds did put Trevor's family up in an apartment so they could stay, and paid for their airfare and their food from the Ritz, and really took care, because he got injured on the job. So Mohammed Al-Fayed, thank you, was taking care of his employees' family. And I can appreciate that, even though he kind of turned around, and I think
he's probably
Dodie's dad was
stricken.
He was grief-stricken, and he was trying to find someone to blame.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until September 19th until he was able to, like, speak out about what happened.
Almost 20 days.
So we're going to get into some conspiracies and discrepancies, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
So it is said that, like we said before, the royals killed her because she posed a threat to the monarchy, or whatever kind of bullshit that is.
Yeah.
Another strange thing that I've already said is that Dodie's dad immediately went to he'd been murdered mentality.
Yeah.
CCTV footage did show that Paul was walking around the hotel perfectly fine. Was evidence fabricated? Because there was one point where the parents of Paul, Henri Paul, was told that, no, your son was not drunk. Like, he's not going to be found drunk. And then weeks later, he was publicly found to be drunk. So was the person saying that just trying to cover up something? Did he not know what was in the report? Was he just trying to make the parents feel better?
Mm-hmm.
Or was evidence fabricated?
Yeah.
It could have been in any of that. So, like you mentioned earlier, Diana had been worried about an accident happening. And also, no one has been able to exactly pinpoint. And I got this little number from something in 2008. So they had been working for 10 years on this case. No one was able to figure out where the hell Henri Paul was, what he was doing between 7 and 10. Like, what did he do after leaving work but coming back from the bar? Did he just go home? What was he doing? Nobody could figure that out. Plus, there are some say that the car they hit in the tunnel was planted by the government along with the motorcycles. That it wasn't actually paparazzi. Because no one was actually convicted.
No. Well, and it was an accident. Like, I don't even know what you would charge a paparazzi with. Like,
exactly.
There's a whole thing, like, even if there's an accident, you are not obligated to help. Like,
exactly.
It's,
yeah.
You can, but you're not obligated to. So,
yeah. And, yeah, people are saying, well, they weren't paparazzi. They were government-hired people to cause them to crash. Like, it's a stretch.
Yeah.
Dodie's father claimed that Dodie had called them and said that he wouldn't leave the hotel. But then apparently Henri Paul had convinced him to leave. Little sus.
Yeah.
But it might have just been nerves.
Yeah, and it sounds like Dodie wasn't in his right mind to begin with. From, like, that whole evening, like, going back and forth between multiple properties. No. Like, saying, like, oh, we gotta go in this other car. Like, it...
Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it sounds like he was... I don't know if maybe he was on a substance of some kind. I don't want to accuse him of being... Right. So when he wasn't, but...
Or he could have just been rattled.
Yeah, from, like, the stress of everything, and he just wasn't thinking rationally. Like, you could probably kind of guess, like, my personal position is that this was just a tragic accident. So I'm kind of like trying to poke holes in some of the conspiracies a little bit. I apologize for that.
No, please. So, there was the fact that Diana did not get to the hospital until about an hour and 40 minutes after the accident.
That is weird.
People say that's very suspicious. Also, the tunnel was open again by 7 the next morning. And apparently all the cameras on the route were switched off. And James Ondunson was a famous paparazzi person who claimed to friends to have been there that night in the tunnel and drove a white Uno. It was thought that it was his car that they clipped. People in authority don't believe his story, even though they never really gave a reason not to believe. In 2000, he was found dead, and apparently he set himself on fire in his own car. But one source said he also had 2 holes in his head.
That is suspicious.
According to Diana's close friends, she was not engaged and was not going to be engaged.
Yeah.
She was not pregnant. They did blood tests. She was not pregnant. I did mention that Trevor was later found that he was not wearing his seatbelt. And someone mentioned, and I think this is kind of interesting, it says, some think that it's very convenient for too many people that Diana is dead. And I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with it.
And my last line was basically, Hasnat Khan was her love. And she, I think, was just trying to make him jealous. And that's the whole reason that she was with
Dodie in the first place. Yeah,
with Dodie in the first place. So, like, she played her cards wrong, I think, and ended up at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. But there are very suspicious things regarding this case. For sure. This, the accident. I don't know. Like, maybe there was a conspiracy, but the ones that have come out are real weird. Real outlandish.
Yeah.
I have just one more little piece of info that, like I said, is probably going to destroy you. It destroyed me.
Oh, God.
So. But I think it's like a sweet little thing to end it on. It's like it's very bittersweet.
Perfect.
So Paul, the butler, in his interview was saying that after Diana died, he was with William and Harry going through some of Diana's possessions. And he was like, why don't you guys pick, I know, here come the tears, pick something to remember her by, like a keepsake. And William was like, I want her Cartier watch that grandfather gave her. I couldn't tell if it was his grandfather, her father, or her grandfather. But it's this really beautiful vintage Cartier watch. And Harry wanted the sapphire engagement ring that his father proposed to her with. And when William was going to propose to Catherine, Harry gave William their mother's engagement ring, and that is how William proposed to Catherine, and Catherine still wears Diana's engagement ring, and here come the tears. So yeah. Like, Harry gave up, like, that last little piece of his mom for his brother. Oh, I can't. I know. It is gonna destroy you.
Why?
I know. I'm gonna, like, cry myself to sleep tonight. Like, why did this have to happen?
I'm so torn. Like, half of me's like, the royals killed her because she was an outspoken woman. And then the other half of me is like, she just trusted the wrong guy with her safety.
Yeah. She was only 36.
Golly.
Listeners, that was our Princess Diana journey. You got to hear both of us cry at the same time for once.
I know, it's not just one or the other. Multiple times, actually. So.
Yeah, more than once, for sure.
Shelby, I hope you're crying, too.
Good.
Good. You've done this to us. She was also with me when I found this book in the free bin, so I'm blaming all of this on her. Okay, well, I need to go to bed before my husband has words for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Not your husband, my boyfriend.
Yeah, is he gonna call you?
Morgan, go to bed.
Go to bed so my husband will go to bed, or my wife will go to bed. Can't talk.
Well,
I'm too sorry.
This was a lot. Rest in peace. Rest in like the best peace, Diana Spencer.
Please know you are and always have been loved.
Yeah, why'd you have to say that? Oh, here come the tears again.
All she wanted.
I know. And she was so loved by so many people.
Oh God, it's a 3-hour episode. Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.